this is more than just a drawing of some arrows. This is beginning drawing 101. So in this video, I'm going to show you how to get started with your project of drawing these arrows, but with beginning drawing techniques, drawing lightly, laying out the design, overlapping, stuff like that. So here we go. Rule number 1. Draw light till you get it right. When I start drawing things in a few minutes and I'm trying to get stuff correct, I don't want to draw hard lines that are hard to erase. So rule number 1, draw light till you get it right. Number 2, back to the sketchbook. This is my sketchbook, and sketchbooks are made for practicing in and planning in. There is almost absolutely no reason to do a completed, finished drawing in your sketchbook. This is your private information. Nobody really sees this most of the time. This is where you practice and plan. The assignment that you're going to do is going to eventually be a finished picture of some arrows. First of all, we're doing arrows because arrows are exciting. They automatically denote movement. When I draw an arrow, it automatically leads you to believe things are going in a certain direction. All right. Second thing is that even if you don't think arrows are exciting, it is the artist's job to make the mundane exciting. Arrows can come in all kinds of shapes and sizes. So this was my first initial arrow. My next one, I'm going to draw, a skinny arrow. All right. The tip of the arrow out here can be really, I don't know, kind of exaggerated. You can draw the tail of the arrow exaggerated. You can make a fat arrow. You can make the head of the arrow super skinny. Make it look 3D. This is a little bit above and beyond the scope of this assignment, but if you want to give that a try, you're more than welcome to. Rule number 2. Draw with confidence. You probably heard the phrase fake it till you make it. Anyway, draw with confidence. All right, rule number 2, draw with confidence. So what that means is do not do this. Alright, don't draw scratchy lines. I don't know if you noticed how long that took, but it took a little while. Draw smooth and confident lines as often as you can. So I'm going to draw the same arrow half the time. Much faster. Got an arrow down on the paper. Do I like it? Maybe, maybe not. But I got it down there faster, and now I can decide whether I like it, so I can change it up or not. So no scratchy lines. Draw with confidence, and that way you can experiment. Even if you mess stuff up, you can experiment with more faster. All right. So now I've got, and that was a lot of mess up right there because I wasn't at the right angle to draw that line. But basically now I know what I want for this arrow, and I can draw it with confidence. You might say, well, some of those lines aren't very straight. Well, neither are those. All right, I didn't make it any straighter by doing this than by doing this. So draw with confidence. All right, that's rule number 2. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn the page here, and I'm going to start working on my idea for the project. Another thing that I need to remember is that there's going to be a middle. This is going to be the front of our sketchbooks. It's going to be the cover of our sketchbooks. This is going to be the front of the sketchbook. This is going to be the back of the sketchbook. So I want to keep that in mind. All right. So the first thing I'm going to do is kind of create an emphasis, and I actually want it to go from one side to the other. So I'm going to draw lightly a confident line that goes from this side to that side. I started off big here, got skinny there just because. Now I'm going to draw straight through here, and then I'm going to figure out where the middle is and draw the tip of the arrow. Okay, so there's my first arrow. I drew it nice and big because I want it to be my emphasis. And you don't have to press down real hard to erase. Since I drew it lightly, I can just erase softly and it'll still erase it. Third rule: overlap whenever possible. So now I'm going to overlap right here by making an arrow that goes from here down like this. I'm going to put the little tip on it right here. The fourth rule: go off the edge of the composition. Now, basically what that does is lead people to believe that there is more outside of the picture frame. And so I'm going to erase this part right here and just make that go off the top. Now notice right here I've got a crisscross, which is good. One of these arrows should be behind the other arrow, and it doesn't really matter which one's which. I'm going to make it so that this arrow is behind this arrow. So if this is in front, I won't be able to see what's behind it. So I'm going to erase what's inside there. Okay? Now it appears as though this arrow right here is behind that arrow. And I'm just making all this up as I go along. Things will come to you as you're working. Chuck Close said, if you wait on a bolt of lightning to strike you, you're never going to make an awful lot of art. Professionals come in to work, and ideas occur to you in the process. Alright, so now I'm going to get serious about it. I'm going to fold it in half because this is going to be the front cover of my book. This is going to be the back cover of my book, and I want to know where the middle is. Secondly, I want my arrows to meet up like right there in the middle. So I'm planning this stuff. I'm not leaving it to chance too much. Planning it. And so the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to draw some lines. These are going to be the arrow lines. Once everything is drawn in your sketchbook and you've figured out what you want to do, once you've come up with a plan, the next part's really easy. I just drew it onto the larger paper, onto the final paper, pretty much the same way I did in my sketchbook. That is, I drew lightly, I was careful, I did overlapping, I erased what I needed to erase, and so on. And then I traced it with this micron. You're probably going to use a Sharpie pen or something similar. Went over all of the lines and tried to leave out all of the mistakes, even though I didn't erase every one of my pencil lines or every one of my mistakes. When I went to trace over it with this pen, I only traced what I wanted to keep. Then I got a larger Sharpie and started filling in the gaps. Now you can color this in this particular project. You can color it in any color you want to. I chose black for the background, and I may go back and do some color in the arrows, but black and white is pretty striking, and so that's what I wanted. So I first went around all of the edges with this fine tip Sharpie, and what you can't see is that I was being very careful. You know, the video makes it look like it was going really fast, but it took me a little while to go around all the edges and make sure that I was careful and not getting outside of the lines and not making a mess and that sort of thing. And then once I got it kind of traced with a fairly solid line, then I went back in with the bigger Sharpie. Anyway, then we're going to turn this into a sketchbook cover, but that will be another video. Hope you enjoyed it. Give me a thumbs up. Bye.